Dear God, it's really good. It's really good.
So you played the beta and everything?
We did. Yeah, it's the alpha. The beta comes out in July.
I don't know if I'll be able to get like anything for a while, but because I know
Yeah.
the next thing on our radar is a Wii U, pretty much. Because
Which is good because
Rachel,
all the Super Smash Brothers stuff was great too, by the way. So.
oh yeah, like because we want like I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and then Rachel actually like really enjoys some of the games on the Wii and
Yeah,
stuff
just
like
get Mario
that.
Kart.
So
Mario
it's good
Kart.
for both of us.
I can give you a list of games. If you buy Mario Kart soon
Yeah.
enough, you actually get Wind Waker for free
Well,
too. So.
I think what we're gonna do is because we got that. We've been talking about it. I don't know when we're gonna do it, but we've got that Best Buy card or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
No,
we just
6 months, 0% interest, same as cash.
Right. Well, it's not the same as cash. We understand
And
that.
if you don't pay it back, you literally have 25% interest. Gotta love Best Buy.
Yeah, instead of paying $300 for that thing, you're paying $1,200 for that thing. Like
Exactly. Hey Austin, is there any way to shut off your washing machine? Because my mic is totally gonna pick this thing up, like hardcore.
Yeah, we can. I don't hear it for the
Oh,
record.
well, no, you might not hear it through this, but I guarantee you it'll go through the mic on the recording.
Oh, yeah, because it's different. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on a second.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, for those of you viewers tuning in live, I am a huge fan of Best Buy. I support every decision they ever make, and they will not screw you on their credit cards, nor will they force their employees to sell them to you. Scout's honor. I'm not a scout.
Sorry about that.
So, guys, you know what I'm really excited about on the topic of video games? There's that Game of Thrones game by Telltale Games that's coming out still. I thought it was going to come out alongside the show because it said 2014, but clearly
Okay.
I was wrong.
So is this an actual game?
Yeah. No. Did you? Okay. You know the Walking Dead games that came out where it was like choose your own adventure
Right.
style and stuff like. There's a Game of
Yeah.
Thrones one like that.
Really? That's
Super
interesting.
excited because the Walking Dead was actually really dang good, and the whole like
Yeah,
system and
I
everything.
played the demo of it, and I saw some other people play it. I never got a chance to really play it all the way through, but
I mean,
Well,
I think it just
The
depends
Walking
on
Dead
how,
was good. Jurassic Park was awful.
Jurassic Park was awful, but I
So-
think if you,
nothing's
you
like Heavy
implement-
Rain.
If you implement the same game mechanics into like the world of Game of Thrones, see, I think it relies a lot more on the storytelling and the worlds they're doing it in. Jurassic
Right.
Park, not that interesting. Walking Dead, very interesting because of the moral ambiguity. Game of Thrones, very interesting because of the choices you have and the impact and also the moral ambiguity. So I don't know. I feel like it'll be a lot more interesting than Jurassic Park, which is like, you know.
I've always thought about that, like, you know, because I've always known that somebody somewhere is going to try to make a Game of Thrones game, but I've always wondered how you could make it work.
There are a few. There's actually
There's been a
Caleb,
couple
we
out
need
already.
to download this. We need to download the Game of Thrones mod for Civ.
There's a Game of Thrones mod for Civ.
Oh yeah.
Oh, why have
use the house
Austin?
without
Why
a
didn't you tell us
house.
before? I mean, come on.
Oh, we need to do it though. It'd be awesome.
We definitely
I
need
guess-
to do it.
I always thought it'd be more of an RPG Skyrim-y style.
Yeah, well, they actually did release a game a couple of years ago, and it was terrible. Like when it was the first season was on TV, so
Oh.
3 years ago now. And it was like a hack and slash.
I could see it as like a Skyrim-y, except with the incorporation of like a Fable, basically, like
Right.
or like you know, where the choices, like you're talking about, the choices, you can actually like affect the outcome of the game with choices.
They
and
just
stuff.
need to make Fallout 3 except for in Westeros. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
something like that. Yeah.
have it more be, and like your decisions really have an impact, and like if you kill a certain person, it totally changes the way the game plays and everything.
Right.
I'd be all over that. Austin, what say you?
I wasn't listening. I was reading this hilarious
Will
link I
you
just
fight
sent
for me? What say you?
Say you? Will you fulfill your vows? Or fulfill your oath?
Will you hold your oath? Yeah.
No. Nope.
Will you hold? I will hold your oath fulfilled.
I want Lord of the Rings game. That's all I want.
There's like 100 of them.
There's like a million Lord of the Rings games.
Like literally, there's probably 100 Lord of the Rings
I
games.
want
Like,
Lord of the
that's
Rings
not even
Telltale games.
exaggeration.
But no, Austin, that would not be nearly as interesting as Game of Thrones because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Middle Earth is just boring. It's evil orcs versus humans and everyone
Yeah.
else, and that's cool. It's fun, but it's not going to make for as compelling a story though.
You are an infidel.
Shall not pass.
That's what you are. Yeah, you shall not pass.
Oh, I'll pass. I already passed Go and made $200. What's up?
Did you check out this link I just sent you, Caleb? You need
I
to check
did.
it.
Hey, have you guys seen the 20 memes of Game of Thrones or whatever? Did y'all see that link?
I think that's what he just sent me, actually.
Oh, is that what it is, Austin?
It's got, well, yeah, there's 22
It's all the rules from
Zombieland.
Oh,
To
there,
Game of
you should. I should have. I didn't grab it because a couple of them were pretty bad. But there was like all 22 memes of Game of Thrones. They were really funny. I saw it somewhere today.
You have to send it to me. I'll have to
Jeez.
check it out.
Game of Thrones is dominating the front page of Reddit right now. It's just
Thank you, Reddit. It's because Game of
crapping all
Thrones
over 'em.
is the best by far.
They usually are not on the front page like this.
No. All right, everybody, welcome to the Cast Beyond the Wall. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and we are presented by our partners at We Got This Covered. Joined, as always, munching on the chips over there, sir.
Austin Lucari.
And my friend, my dear friend, who might have lost part of his soul last night. Introduce yourself.
Daniel Stoll.
And we're
What?
here to review the Game of Thrones season finale. Guys, 10 episodes. Can you believe we're at 10 episodes? 10 episodes has flown by. One of the best seasons of TV. One of the best seasons of Game of Thrones, if not the best. Holy crap, guys. We're at the end. This is the end. And man, it was the end. So, wow, that was awkward. But yeah, we're going to go in here and we are going to delve into the season finale, The Children, and we're going to be taking your questions. For those of you tuning in live, go ahead and send us questions or comments. You like it? Did you not like it? Don't be submitting those spoilers, though. We do not want any spoilers in the comments. We're taking 2 question breaks, one halfway through the show and then one at the end. We really want to hear what all of you have to say about the epic Game of Thrones season finale. So make sure to send us your questions if you're tuning in live and not watching soccer, because apparently everybody and their mother is watching soccer tonight.
We're done.
It's the World
It's
Cup.
over.
Oh, we lost?
Well, no, we won. It's just
Oh, we
over
won.
for tonight.
Oh, okay, we won. America, yeah,
Wait.
coming to save the motherfucking day, yeah.
The
In
top post
soccer.
on Reddit at the moment is an eagle with giant muscly arms.
That's American
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh.
Yep.
That is very American. I've got muscly arms. Check it out. Woo. Okay, not really. All right. So, as always, we are going to hop in. We're gonna break the ice on this awesome discussion by asking a question. And this week in Game of Thrones, we lost a lot of brave souls. A lot of brave, greedy, bastardist, evil souls. We lost some. We lost, like, I think 3.5 or 4 in my counting that were actually worth noting.
3.5.
The half is a guy. Listen,
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. All I've got to say is biblical narrative, the Good Samaritan. That's all I'm saying. So, hence the half. So, the question this week is, though, a lot of people die in Westeros all the time. All the time. And we watch and we think it's awesome and sad and all that stuff. But if we were the ones in Westeros, how would we want to go? It's a pretty brutal way. So, it's kind of a tough call. Austin Lucari, how would you like to go out in Westeros?
Well, I'd like to think I don't go out, but if I had to, I got to go out like Ned Stark, exit early and gracefully, and not have to deal with any of this crap. I mean, at the time we thought that was a horrible, brutal death, but after seeing everything that's happened since, that's the way to go.
Yeah, getting decapitated was pretty easy, actually.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Obviously, I would not like to go either, but if I had to, I would much rather it be a quick death. Although I wouldn't want it to be. Well, maybe I would want it to be. I don't even know. I was gonna say I don't know if I'd want it to be as impactful, like for my family, as Ned's was. I wouldn't want my death to basically be the end and cause my entire family to also go down a path of death as well. But yeah, something like beheading or just quick. It has to be. I don't want to have to. There's no prolongedness. Or if there's a poison out there that does it where I don't feel any pain, that could work too. Just the easy way. I'm taking the easy way out.
He wants to be the jester.
You want your wife to poison you because she's actually in love with another man? Is that what I'm hearing?
I just saying I want the easy way out. I'm totally want the easy way out.
He wants to be Ser Dantos.
You guys are-
Dies with no family to affect, just dies in the middle of a lake.
You guys are boring. I want to go out in a freaking blaze of glory. I want to be riding a freaking mammoth after I kill
so you want to
the
be burned at the
giant.
stake?
No, I'm gonna kill a giant, be riding a mammoth, wanting my sword up along high, and then get like lit up with fire arrows.
That'd be
I'll go out
totally.
like that.
That'd be awesome if it was fast. If it's gonna be fast, that'd be awesome. As long as
The
it's
most
fast.
epic deaths, most epic deaths ever are never fast. They're slow and painful, but then people talk about them later. So.
Oh, but that doesn't matter to you. You're dead.
But you're dead, yeah. Like.
But I leave an impact, my friends. Everyone's gonna remember that I might have died, but I was the guy who died riding a freaking mammoth.
You're
with fire
gonna
arrows.
be another one of those beetles.
No, I will be the king beetle. I will be the king beetle who is riding a snake. That'll be how I go out.
Oh, good luck with that.
I'm saying, guys, it's what you leave behind.
I'll just be the dung beetle, okay?
An epic
okay with being
memory.
the dung beetle.
I'll be remembered as the dung beetle. You guys will just be like dust. No one's gonna remember your name. I'll be Caleb the Conqueror who like rode off and fought. And over time, the story will get even bigger. So it'll say I like went out in a blaze of fire and burnt down the wall as I
was a legend. It was a legend of the alley.
So yeah, that's how I want to go out. Blaze of glory. I do want to be riding a mammoth because that is one of the requirements. Either that or maybe a dragon. But honestly, I don't trust dragons. I trust mammoths. I don't trust dragons.
Go out like Grin.
Especially after this episode.
See, Grin got a great death too. People are gonna remember Grin. He was a farmer.
If we got to see it, it'd been a little bit more awesome. But
yeah, that's true. But speaking of Grin, let's go ahead and hop right into this week's episode and our review of The Children. All right, everybody. All right, sorry. So, guys.
It was a great episode. I loved it. It was probably the most fantastic.
Let's start over. Before I get to the wall, Austin Lucari, what did you think of this week's episode?
It was a great episode. It was probably the best season finale we've had so far. And admittedly, the finales haven't been great in the past. This one was really, really good. We got key major plot points. Still one of the best episodes of the season, even in a season that's been amazing. It's kind of hard to pick favorites in this season.
Yeah.
True story.
Really, there's like been one episode where I was like, that's okay, and the rest have been fantastic. And it's not, I mean, we say that a lot, but I don't think that's an exaggeration. So, Daniel, what'd you think?
I definitely agree along those kind of terms. I thought it was a really, really good episode. I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of great moments that we saw. And I also feel like, I know we talked about this last week, about how they were going to wrap everything up. I felt like they did a solid job of wrapping all the storylines up to a point where we felt concluded. But, obviously there's still more story to be told. So I thought that part was good. I thought it was a solid episode. Especially, it fit in with this season. This season, I do agree that this was probably one of the better finales. As I'm thinking of it, I can't really come to think that any of the other ones were better. So yeah, I'd probably agree that this is probably the best finale that we've ever had. To probably what will probably go down as the best season of Game of Thrones as well. So yeah, I thought it was just a really great way to end this season.
I agree definitely with both of you guys. It was the best season finale because most season finales are more of a trend. We talked about this last week, more of a transitional thing, and this episode was still delivering huge plot points that. This is honestly more so than the past seasons. It's probably the most traditional TV season finale. Because it saved a lot of big plot beats for the end. It didn't end on a cliffhanger, so it does kind of get out of that trope a little bit. But yeah, it delivered a lot of big plot beats, and it climaxed in a lot of areas. A lot of the big storylines climaxed, and I have to hand it to them for wrapping up so many storylines so well. And that was something last week we were just like baffled. We're like, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this off or not. But they totally did. Landed it in flying colors. Is the best episode of Game of Thrones? Probably not. This is one of the best. And I do have to say that this was still probably one of the best episodes of the season, and an exceptional season. Almost every episode has been great. I really think this goes toe to toe with the best ones, including The Mountain and the Viper, and the Lion and the Rose, and a couple of other huge episodes. I think this was definitely top of the game for Game of Thrones.
It was certainly happier than most of them.
Yeah, this was actually a fairly happy.
A positive
episode.
By Game of Thrones terms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Game of Thrones standards, it was much more positive.
The way I look at it is this season, it really does wrap up a lot of those big major plot threads, whereas before we were always transitioning to the next phase of the story, where this one I feel like it concluded a lot of things, so it was happy-ish in a sense for some of our characters. Like, there's hope, there's new hope in the fact that our characters are going to a new places that seem a lot more. There's a lot more hope in those new places than there were in Westeros.
It's interesting because we started off this season talking about how different the world was from last season, but even just in this, these last couple episodes, the world is so much different than it was from the episode where Joffrey died. Like the world has just completely changed in just these couple episodes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the climax of all these storylines, the War of the Five Kings, and a lot of major players bit it. They bit the dust. And next season we're going to see a very different Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We will talk about that more later, I think. I have some thoughts on that.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start off at the Wall. So I've got some things to say about the Wall, but before we get into the things I have to say, I guess we go ahead. Guys, I really thought that this scene should have been in last week's episode. I thought everything up until the end of the sequence where Stannis shows up and they capture Mance Rayder should have been last week. There were some things up the wall that happened later. This is not a big deal because honestly, in retrospect, when we're powering through these on Blu-ray, it's not going to make a bit of difference. But I just thought it was very interesting that the last episode ended on a note where I felt like it was missing something. And then
but it was exciting.
And then it opened with this scene, which I was like, oh, well, this is what I was waiting for. Like, it felt like the battle had more conclusion and like it was complete. I don't know. Like, I was like, okay, that was how the battle ended. Versus.
I guess. Well, I was just gonna say, I did the math on this. This finale was 66 minutes long, and last week's episode was 51 minutes. That scene probably was 6 minutes. So I feel like you take 6 minutes off this finale, the first 6 minutes, throw it on to last week's, make last week's episode 57 minutes, make this week 60 minutes, and I feel like I agree with you. I feel like it should have been in there as well last week, but
I think it would have. I think
it's fantastic still, but I do think it would have fit better in last week's episode. But that's pretty much my only critique about our episode. So
there's a couple things I think they really wanted to make, and I don't think they succeeded very well. Ygritte's death a bit more meaningful, and I didn't want to overshadow it with Stannis showing up surprisingly. I think that's been the main thing. I think that was probably the biggest reason they cut it and moved it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I thought, I honestly believed that when Jon Snow walked through that gate, we were not going to see him again for a season or two. Like, I really believed that until we watched the preview of the next episode. So I think, had I not watched that, I would have believed he went through the wall just like Benjen did, just like all these different people have gone through and just never returned. I thought he might drop off the face of the planet for a little while and then show up like totally changed. But didn't happen, obviously. But I maintain that I think it was good to move it.
It was. It made for one heck of an It made for one heck of an opener. There's no doubts there. I mean, it was a great, powerful.
And I think a better ending of the last episode, personally.
You think it makes a better opening than an end of the last episode?
Yeah, a better opening than an ending. I would say that.
That's fair enough. I definitely feel like this is one of the. I mean, I could be totally wrong on this because I don't know exactly how I don't know how the creative process works all the time. I know generally how it works in TV, but sometimes it's a little different case by case scenario. But definitely felt to me like they made the call to move scenes on the cutting room floor in the editing room. They're like, you know what? I don't know if this quite fits here. Maybe we should move it to the next episode. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing.
No, that's fine. Like, it was fine. It was still good. We still got that moment I wanted. I would have felt more strongly about last week's episode had that been there. But no big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad. I don't think it's like detrimental to the show or anything. It's just I don't know. I kind of had, but maybe again I have because I'm a book reader and I knew that was coming. Maybe perhaps I had a
tainted viewpoint. I don't know if tainted's the right word, but
yeah, tainted people. I had just sort of was expecting it, and then when it didn't happen, I was like let down. But that's not fair to the show at all. That's something that I'm bringing to the table that I shouldn't be bringing.
But I just seriously thought it was even for TV standpoint, it was just a really weird place to end that. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm only on this hosting this podcast, so But I thought we can move into specifics though. I thought before we, even before Stannis showed up, I thought it was really great to see Mance Rayner back again. We hadn't seen this guy in like a year and a half. We hadn't seen him since like the third episode of season 3 or something. So he was back, and I thought we really got you. He's a nice. I just think Mance is kind of a cool guy. He's really chill. He actually, I think he makes it pretty clear that he's not interested in having a war. He just is interested in protecting his people by getting them to the other side of the wall. He just knows that pretty much the Night's Watch vow is to make sure that they don't make it over there. So that's why they're fighting a war. But he seemed like he said, "Listen, you just let us through these gates. We're not going to hurt anybody. We just want to make sure we're safe."
Yeah, I've been kind of disappointed we haven't seen more of Mance because I do like him. I think the actor's fantastic. He's an interesting and very compassionate character, I believe. It's been kind of sad we haven't seen much more of him to this point. I'm hoping if he's captured and kind of a prisoner, he becomes a bigger deal. I don't know. We'll see. Daniel, did you have something?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do like Mance. I think, this showed that he really is a good guy. However, I do think that he is just interested in getting across the wall and protecting him, but I don't think that he could promise that his people, quote unquote, would not hurt the men at the wall. Like the Thanes, the Thanes. I don't think he could have stopped them from doing whatever they wanted to do. You know what I mean?
No, and it would be a giant group of people who've been displaced from their land, have no resources, no ability to farm or anything like that. They're going to be raiding and doing.
And that's the way that he united them. That's the way that he united them. He united them in saying, "We're going to live by going and taking the wall." Like that was like he couldn't that's how at least that's how it appears that he united them and saying, "If we don't go there, we're going to die. So we got to go there and take over the wall and make it ours." I feel like that's how he united them, and I don't think he can say that and say we were just coming to get on the other side because I feel like his people would not have been like that.
Well, his intention would be. I do think his intention to get people over there peacefully is pretty legit. But I mean, obviously on a practical level, anytime you move one massive group of people like that to somewhere where they're not, and all of a sudden you've got these resource stuff. There's gonna be raping, pillaging, killing, stealing, all sorts of stuff, which is exactly why the Night's Watch can't let them through. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting to get insight. And I actually believe in his word. I think his intentions are pretty pure.
Yeah, I believe his intentions are that way, but I don't think he can fulfill them from his people's standpoint, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also like the little line where Mance and John are kind of reflecting on a battle, and he said, "Mag was this great giant who came from this rich bloodline. He was the last of his royal bloodline or whatever." And then John's like, "Grin, he was from a farm." You know what I mean? But I think the point was being, though, I mean, like in war, death is equal. I mean, yes, your person has more heritage and all that jazz, but ultimately they're the same because they're both dead. And I think it's kind of sad and kind of, I don't know, just that kind of interesting point to raise there about how war kind of.
It's also interesting because to me it seems like a little bit the tables are turned, where someone like the Wall is more like the bloodline is important, and whereas the Wildlings are more like it doesn't matter, you make the free folk as they're called, you make your own path or whatever. And here we see him talking about the bloodline, and John's sort of like, yeah, he's a farmer, and he's up here fighting your bloodline king of the giants, or whatever. Right. So I just thought it was interesting too how you get swapped what would be typical, I guess. Because usually we hear the Wildlings talking about how they're free, they can do what they want, it doesn't matter, we don't bow to people with the bloodline, it doesn't matter. It was just interesting how those kind of swapped in that conversation.
Yeah. I guess lastly, on that conversation between John and Mance, John is one really piss-poor assassin, guys. I mean, he didn't even get a chance. Like, he started to pull his dagger, and he's like, "Oh, that was clever, you just came to kill me, eh? Well..."
It was pretty bad. Like, he could have waited for a more opportune moment, I think.
Right. Well, he was totally surrounded by Mance's dudes. Like, and there was actually a fair amount of distance. I mean, like, what was he going to try to do?
Why did he say, this is my moment? This is the time right now. It was pretty bad.
I don't know what he's thinking.
Might as well announce yourself, guys. I mean, if I was going to assassinate people, I certainly would not do it like that. But it's okay. Because Jon didn't have much of a plan when he went in anyway. It was just kind of like a make it up as he goes along type thing.
Yeah, he hadn't slept in like forever either, so.
Slept or eating, he's like, I gotta kill Mance with my hair, my shiny hair that doesn't move. Okay. But then Stannis shows up, and holy crap, he's got a giant effing army riding horses and all that stuff. And guys, I mean, I knew it was going to be a pretty big army, but dang, it was a lot bigger than I expected. Just saying, there was a lot of dudes, and it was a very Lord of the Ringsy moment. All of a sudden, you see the horses fly through, and of course, the show tried to play it up like, who is this? Who is this? But I mean, like, I thought they had set that up a season ago. I thought it was way too obvious because, like, even when Davos and Stannis are walking up, like their faces are clouded by smoke and stuff, like it was some big reveal, and I was like. I mean, it was awesome, don't get me wrong, but I was like, oh, come on, guys. Everybody knows who it is.
Yeah, I mean, Ostradamus predicted it.
Oh, gosh. Ostradamus, whatever.
Ostradamus?
What? No, it was pretty obvious, like, what was going on, I think. And
if you were
logistically, I don't know how that worked out. It was kind of... It didn't seem like there was that much time for him to buy the army, get the ship them over, get on the other side of the wall, do all these huge things, and then save them. But we don't really have a good concept of how much time has passed. But when you compare it to Tyrion's trial to when he was supposed to be executed, it seems like he didn't have that much time.
A couple weeks. It took Tyrion's trial between trial and execution, all that was about 2 weeks.
That's about all Stannis had. I don't know. It seems a little fast, but I guess he was in a hurry.
Austin, I mean, time is relative. It's a flat circle. We just keep doing the same thing.
Statement. Time is relative.
Is it really? We can have this argument again, Caleb. Right here.
Time is relative, man. like for Tyrion, I'm sure the 2 weeks felt like an eternity. For Stannis, though, he's like, guys, I gotta throw this army together really fast. How do I make time slow down?
he is using concepts, Einstein's theory of relativity, to his advantage to get the army there faster.
Isn't there some theory about like light? Like he used light speed because he's a little light. All that. Okay.
Wow. That was pretty bad. But yeah, I thought it was cool. Mance was taking jabs at him like, you guys are stupid. You're not dressed to be up here. Like, cause, Stannis and Davos are still wearing their like same armor they wore down in Dragonstone and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did anyone else feel like it was weird that Mance like didn't fight it at all? I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
It's been a little bit controversial on the web. What do you guys think?
He had 100,000 men, right? Mance did like. We didn't
but against
see
cavalry?
that many. Well, I mean that's true, but I don't know. Like I wasn't as he just like was like, oh, there's people here that I didn't expect. No more bloodshed. I don't know. Like I felt like it was kind of awkward.
Slaughters infantry like bad, and there was a lot of them. I think he realized we're all going to die if I don't surrender.
Well, even if he didn't do that, like his purpose is to get his people to freedom. That's why he says no more bloodshed, because he's like, well, maybe he's thinking we could fight them, but how many of us are going to die in the process?
Well,
is it worth it?
More than likely, Stannis is going to take them on the other side of the wall, I would think, as prisoners. And if they're on the other side, they're probably happy and safe.
They'll take Mance on the other side of the wall as prisoner. I don't know about his people though.
Leave the rest of them to sit there and attack the wall forever.
Well, they're not going to attack. They don't have Mance.
Well, Stannis was all like, bow or take your people, and he was like, I don't bow. I mean...
Well, he's funny. He's like, I am Lord... Davos is like, this is the king of the Seven Kingdoms. And he's like, we're not in the Seven Kingdoms.
Davos was kind of annoying, I have to say. I'm sick of Davos's, like, constant title telling. It's ridiculous.
That's what the Hand of the King does.
He needs to shut up.
Let's look at Daenerys. She's got like a gajillion titles. I think it's even more annoying every time.
More. She had another one this week, apparently.
She did. Every time. It gets longer.
It is very annoying. Just Davos, shut up. Let Stannis do his thing. Speaking of Stannis, let's talk about Stannis here for a moment. Stannis,
Okay.
as the internet calls him, Stannis the Manus.
What? I've never heard that. Wow.
Oh yeah,
Like Stannis the Menace.
He's he'd done a lot of not cool things. I think he redeemed himself quite a bit this week. He's not likable. He's probably never going to be likable, but I think he has by far been the most qualified person to rule at this point. Seems to be pretty just, pretty fair for the most part, aside from the kind of radical religious things that he's been doing, and has the knowledge and stuff to be able to do things, unlike, say, Daenerys, who kind of doesn't know what she's doing. So it was kind of cool to see him be a little awesome after he's done nothing but sulk around a castle for 2 seasons. I don't know about you guys, but I'm in on Stannis right now.
Are you Team Stannis, Austin?
I could be Team Stannis, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not Team Stannis.
I'm not Team Stannis. I think Stannis has made a good move here. I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I definitely agree with most of what you said, though. This is something awesome. He did something really, really cool, and I don't think he's likable because of it, but he's definitely making really, it was a good step in the right direction, and he's headed to a good place. Whereas, like you said, someone like Daenerys is, struggling right now, and I don't even know who else is out there right now. This is basically, I guess, it right now, but yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, and I agree with most of what you said, and it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I guess he's the only kind of quote-unquote good guy with any sort of power or army that's doing anything.
Good guy's a real stretch.
Yes, I agree with you. It is a real stretch. But
he said good guy
he came into
quotation
today, basically.
He did something very good. Does not make him a good guy. No.
I think he'd be.
Stannis also did some very good thing. Or sorry. Tywin did some very good things. I don't know if that makes him a good guy either.
What did he do that was good? Name a thing that Tywin did that was good.
He put Joffrey in his place more than once. That was good.
I guess.
That was kind of minor compared to what Stannis just did. Okay.
Name something. Yeah, that was for the greater good of the realm.
I'll think about that one. Come back to
for
me.
the realm.
Okay.
When we put for the realm at the end of there, that really changes a lot. Because a lot of what he does is for the good of his family.
I mean, of course, Stannis is doing this. Stannis is basically on his goodwill campaign. He's helping the wall. He's probably going to go do some other things to try to gain the support of the country.
He's a maverick.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I'll say about Stannis, though. Sorry. Here's what I'll say about Stannis, though, is I feel like he could, if Melisandre was not influencing him at all and she wasn't a part of the picture, I'd be much more likely to get behind him.
Absolutely.
I would too.
I think she clouds his view a lot. And
he may not need her anymore. I mean, what has she done for him lately?
Well, no, that's the thing, though. He folds to everything she tells him to do.
Right.
Almost.
But maybe he recognized, hey, Davos had a pretty good idea, and it seems to be working out for me pretty well right now. Maybe I don't need this woman.
That's true, but remember, she was also the one who said originally he was going to kill Davos, and then she said, no, we need him, because we are going to go to the north. And I think part of the reason he also went north, too, is because I remember he had a vision where he said he saw that he was in a great battle in the snow.
Yeah, true. It's true. I can't decide whether Melisandre is actually evil or not. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah,
she's doing
interesting
evil things, but what is her motivations for it? That's the real question, I guess. So.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
She definitely had her eye on Jon Snow this week.
Oh yeah. What do you guys think about
that? And if you listen to our spoiler-filled bonus episode, and if you haven't and don't want to, then
it's not spoiler-filled. We do not spoil any Game of Thrones. It's theorizing. There's no spoilers.
Okay. Well, I guess that's true. Nothing has been confirmed.
It's only spoilers if our predictions are right.
I think she's eyeing him because he's
we don't know
Targaryen, and he has Targaryen blood, and she needs to use it.
Hey Austin, can you say that last part again?
I said I think she's eyeing him because he's a Targaryen and he has Targaryen blood, and she intends to use it.
He has. Ooh, yeah. She's all about that king's blood.
Yeah,
She loves that.
And-
Here's some king's blood.
that's even a more rightful king than Stannis, I would imagine. So
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. Well, if our
theory
Theories
is
are
correct.
she should be.
We have-
She should be eyeing. She should be
We have-
eyeing Aemon. That's what she should be doing. She should get a hold of her son Aemon.
Oh,
That's a good point, though. She's the Targaryen blood. She knows the power, and
he's too
remember-
old.
remember the Lord. She remembers the Lord of Light and the dragon. I mean, like I don't know. And the Targaryens, you would think they go hand in hand with the Lord of Light because they had dragons, fire.
Mhm.
So you would think they kind of go tie
Well,
hand in
and
hand.
think about Daenerys. If you burn Daenerys at the stake, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, nothing's gonna
Totally
happen to
fine.
her.
She's gonna walk out of it, no problem.
That's totally true. Interesting.
She is the purest in the Lord of the Light's eyes.
So the question is, what happens when
Oh.
Dany? What happens when Dany meets Melisandre?
Melisandre's gonna be like, "Screw you, Stannis. I'm following her. She is more awesome."
And you have to wonder. You do have to wonder, Melisandre. We still don't have any clear idea
Yeah.
of what her real motives are yet. at this point.
Because we really don't know almost anything. The closest we've gotten to a backstory on her is back in season 3 when she had Gendry and they went by the castle or whatever, and she says that she was once a slave too. And for all we know, she was just lying to manipulate him. Like we really know nothing about her.
I believe her. I believe her on that.
I don't know if I believe her.
I
I
believe
don't
that.
think I believe her.
It was vague enough. It would make sense. I believe her.
But like, what is she? Well, she was like, I was a slave once. Like, what does that even mean for her? Like, where'd she come from? What was like? I don't know. Like, we literally know nothing about her.
I know it's true. We don't know hardly anything about her. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of that was a little bit of setting up for next season, though. And I am very interested to see.
That is probably the
I
most
wanna
interesting
see-
storyline going into next season. I think.
Well, no. Well, and that's the point I wanted to hit on. Okay, I don't want to like pick on storylines here, but I think personal opinion is that two of the lesser interesting storylines just collided that seem like they could both be way more interesting now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the Wall was always always drag on so long, and then obviously with Stannis, it's been like 2 seasons of him sitting around. So it's like finally, and then they're colliding in a way that makes sense. It's like, ooh, they're fighting this battle in the snow. Melisandre, her quest to find the Lord of Light and battle the Great Other and all that stuff. Like, it just seems way more interesting. I'm really excited to see where they take it next season.
There was no Alistair this week. I wanted to see him.
Yeah,
I wanted to see him to tell Stannis to get out of his castle.
right.
He's not Night's Watch and he doesn't belong here.
I did want to see Alistair because I feel like we don't know if he actually died or not still. It's like kind of ambiguous.
That's true.
I don't know. I could tell you wrong on that. But, well, before we head on to other northern places, I thought the scene with Tormund was cool. I'm a big Tormund fan. Red-bearded Santa Claus, man. Love that guy. I don't know why. He's just cool. So I thought it was kind of cool to see him hearken to kind of talk to Jon about Ygritte a little bit, and I feel like this. I know we talked about how none of us were really a fan of how Ygritte went out and how we thought it kind of robbed her, like the way they executed was wrong, which I still maintain. Could have been done much better. But I thought this episode retroactively made me feel like I should have felt about it initially. Like,
Yeah.
that sense of like sadness. I was like, oh boy. Like,
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I felt really sad. I was like, oh, he really did love her, and she loved him. Like there's 2 conversations between Jon and Mance, and then Jon and Tormund, and then obviously you see him burn her body, and I was like, yeah, they really did love each other. Like we didn't have that kind of, and it was like a post-mortem reminder, like, oh yeah, they really did. Like, and it was really sad. That relationship, we didn't see it all season though, so. Up until last episode, it wasn't really that sad. I will stand strong when I say I think they should have killed her early in the season, and then had them harken back to her here, still, to kind of like see how her death had weighed in on him over time. But they still didn't do that, and it still bums me out because I think it would have been way more effective. Because I really didn't feel that upset about it last week. And I was sad, and I was doubly sad this week.
I was a little annoyed, honestly, with it. Now, I liked that they did bring it up again, and it didn't make me feel a little sad, but didn't make me feel sad about Ygritte. It made me feel sad about Jon Snow. They made it more about Jon Snow than they did about her, and I was a little annoyed by that. I don't know. How'd you feel, Daniel?
Yeah, I thought it was like a nice little touch. It kind of brought that back. Like, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know if I felt sadness in that scene, but I felt like that scene was more about Jon having to forcing, like Tormund was bringing it up, like forcing Jon to deal with it, I guess, because he really hadn't had time to really process or deal with it yet. I don't know.
Well, it was just weird that we went this whole season without really even
Seeing
talking
her.
about Ygritte, or seeing her,
Right.
and all of a sudden everyone suddenly cares about her and she's super important. It was really
Right.
bizarre.
Right.
Because
Well,
I feel like
Mance brings her
but see,
up, and
I
Tormund
think-
brings her up, and
I think she's important for Jon's character.
Yes.
Like, not her own character wasn't as important.
but
It's
she
more
could have
important.
been. It was so good, and I just
Yeah,
didn't think they did that
I agree
very
with
well.
that. But I think it's important for Jon's character, in the sense that he fell in love with
Mhm.
this character, and it did cause him to break his vows. And well, unless you were talking to Sam, then maybe it didn't. But and this is the one person in his life where he's had a real true connection of love and something, and now he's having to deal with that. And I don't know. I think it was more important for his character.
Well,
than
that's
his-
the thing. It was definitely more about his. It was definitely more about his character. I'm just saying. I thought
Yeah.
it would have been more impactful had they killed her early in the season. Because we still would have felt it more earlier in the season. Because it was like, oh yeah, they spent all last season building it up. They kill her earlier in the season, and then it's like, yeah, and you see how that wears and tears on him for most of the season, and then these guys bring it back up in episode 10, which I think would have been fitting, and it would have made sense, and it would have brought back up that like sadness that we should have had initially. And I still thought these were very effective scenes, by the way. I really did. I thought Tormund talking about how much she talked about how she wanted to kill him, and stuff like that. It was just I really felt bad, and I felt like it retroactively made last week better, but I still think it could have been a lot more effective.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
sure. Like I said, I just that they made it about Jon and not her. That's all.
Well, it was sad to see Jon sad, and he had to burn her body, and he there were tears. There were man tears shed with the hair. I mean, his hair still didn't move, but there were tears shed. So fair enough. It was still a very sad scene. In other places beyond in the north, though, we get to see some really interesting shenanigans with Bran. So we haven't seen Bran since like the 5th episode, I think, 5th, 6th episode maybe, and he finally made it. He finally made it to the freaking weirwood tree. They're building up for the storyline for the whole show now, and they finally stinking made it. And what do they find? Jojen and the Argonauts is what happened. So yeah, okay. So I thought it was really cool. They get there. The skeleton things was very reminiscent of Jason and the Argonauts. Classic. You should go check it out. And I thought it was kind of a nice little action set piece. The effects looked really great. All that good jazz. Hodor goes into epic Hodor mode.
And what the crap was happening, and
what was going on, and then all of a sudden Jojen is getting like freaking stabbed. I was like, what the? I literally like jumped out of my chair because this was shocking. I just wasn't expecting Jojen to die because he didn't die in the books here, or he didn't die in the books, and I was not expecting this at all. It was a huge shocker, and I felt really sad because Jojen's not like my favorite character or anything, but I was like, man, this guy is so dedicated to his cause and his purpose and stuff like that. And then, boom, we're just gonna blow up with the fireball. I was like, oh man, you worked so hard.
He's never coming back. I don't know. I mean, I didn't care about Jojen really. He wasn't really a major character.
it was
dies.
it was more just like,
I
oh,
would've
he
felt-
died. Like
There was
that's kinda all it was.
I was scared the direwolf was gonna die, and I was scared Hodor was gonna die. And those are the ones I was afraid of. Jojen died. I was like, whatever. Life moves on.
Oh, that's so
Man.
sad.
I had like a oh that stinks moment, but it wasn't like like any sort of sad. It was like oh that really
I'm not
stinks.
like upset. It's not like I'm not like
I'm not upset about it.
or anything. I mean, I'm sad. I just was like, I just feel bad mostly. I'm just like,
Well,
Jojen
according to
all
that guy,
time-
he knew. According to that guy, he knew.
He did. Remember, he saw the flaming hand a few episodes ago too.
Well, 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago I said anyone can die. I don't care anymore.
That's true. He did say that.
Jojen is among those people where I don't
You
care.
stone-hearted bastard, you.
Doesn't matter. Life is
Okay.
meaningless.
Sorry, I don't know if you did it on purpose, Caleb, or not, but that was hilarious.
Brilliant.
That's going to be
Anyway.
cut.
So now that we saw Jojen get the knife and then the explosion, we finally made it to the Three-Eyed Raven now. What did you guys think of this? What did you think was going on? What was your feeling?
I have no idea what's going on.
We went to the spooky tree.
Yeah, I do think I know who these children are. I don't know. I can't remember if they talked about them. They haven't. I know they haven't talked about them nearly as much as they do in the books. But I don't even know if they've mentioned the whole phrase. I believe that these are the children of the forest.
Right.
I believe is what these characters are. And I think that all we really know about that, I may be mixing book and show here. I don't remember. But basically what we know about them is they were around about 1,000 years ago, or they were around a long time ago, and they sort of went away for whatever reason. They were really involved with nature and mystical things and magical things, and then they just sort of went away, and we don't really know why, and that's all I really know about them. So it was really cool. I kind of figured out who they were before I found out who they were, like she said that they were the children or whatever. But I don't really know what's going on, and I really don't know what was going on with those skeleton guys. So
It was interesting. Had they not shown Darth Maul, I probably would have thought these were Craster's kids. But since they showed that, even though they weren't really supposed to, I guess, that's where I would have gone with it had I not known that already.
Yeah,
So
well,
you think-
Craster's kids were only boys, though, so there's that to keep taking into consideration.
So you think that these skeleton things are related to the White Walker dude?
No, I thought I don't know. I thought the kids were Craster's kids, not the skeletons.
Oh, the kids. Oh, okay, sorry.
Do you think the guy in the tree, though, the Three-Eyed Crow, or Three-Eyed Raven or whatever, do you think he is a child of the forest?
I don't know. My theory earlier today was that he was actually Benjen Stark, who is a shapeshifter. And
What? Okay. Here's the thing: is that they never told us what's going on with Benjen Stark. So there's so many that's probably him. That's probably because he has to be alive the way that they've never revealed.
The way they always talk about how that character, they hint at him all the time. Well, in the books especially, they hint they reference him
all the time.
At least once a book, at least. So you're like, oh, they're mentioning him so that we know he's still around.
Right, so we don't forget about it.
We don't know. It's like, where the crap is he at?
This guy is Tom Bombadil. He lives underneath the hill.
Hey.
He's got all these weird powers. Seemingly nothing can touch him. Things just explode when they get near him. I think he's Tom Bombadil.
Tom Bombadil. That's that crossover. This is where it crosses over. This is what happened to Tom Bombadil after Lord of the Rings.
That's right.
That's a good theory.
I honestly don't know exactly where this is going. Guys, we've caught up to the books here. They have jumped gun on Bran. This is new to me. I mean, now this
Which
is
is
not
awesome, by the way, because his story is so slow.
Oh, I know. I'm so glad they're speaking the way it has to, because I was like, God, how are they going to do another season just dragging him out? I'm so glad that they made it. And actually, I take that back. There are still a few very, very crucial bits of information that have not been revealed about who this guy is and whatnot. However, the way the show's put it, event-wise, we are at Bran's endpoint, which is really exciting, because that means next season it's going to be all new Bran stuff with this guy, whoever this guy is. Very excited to see what happens.
I'm super excited for this storyline. This is the first time I've been this excited about Bran, and I've always liked Bran, but I always, his story has just been so slow, and I'm super excited that something's actually happening, and I cannot wait to get
he fought
going with it.
Carl, the Legend of the Alley Tanner. That was pretty eventful, okay? Even if it was just a giant, massive filler.
Right.
So I'm very excited to see what's up with Bran. I thought it was nice. We got a bit of an action scene with Bran and those guys, which we don't normally get, for one. And and the story has finally hit a landmark. We're finally getting somewhere, and I'm very fascinated to see what's going on. And basically, I guess the consensus we all have is we don't know what the F's going on.
So basically, it's kind of funny. Basically, Hodor's going to stick around because Bran needs to fight by working into him and fighting with him.
Well,
Like, so,
funny you mentioned that. Well, that's exactly what Hodor's sole purpose is. But
right.
I
Yes.
like the line when Bran's like, "You're gonna help me walk again." And he's like, "You will never walk again, but you will fly."
Meaning,
Which is actually
Hodor is going to get angel wings and then carry Bran around.
And all of a sudden,
actually,
all of a
this
sudden,
is
Leonard Skinner's gonna rise up and start playing Freebird, and Hodor's gonna get these wings.
They're going to have to be huge wings because Hodor is not a small man.
that's actually a reference back to season 1 when Bran had a lot of visions. I don't remember if they actually brought it up in the show. Actually, now that I think about it,
We had dreams.
So
He
maybe-
had a lot of dreams where he was flying, basically.
yeah, he had a lot of visions and dreams where he was flying. So that's very interesting that he uses the word "you're gonna fly."
And this guy is also seemingly omniscient, right? He says, "I have known all of you for thousands of years." You know, like what?
With
the
all my
heck?
many eyes or whatever,
With
like he
my,
can
my
see
thousand with a
everything.
thousand eyes or whatever. It's like
Yeah,
what?
he's almost like a god. He's making himself sound that way
He
anyway.
is talking like a very godlike character.
Right.
So wow, that was interesting. Do we have anything else we want to say about Bran this week, guys?
I would like to say that I'm going back again on what I would say Bran was headed. I thought Bran was headed for like this great other. I'm now don't think that's where he's headed at all, because from what I believe we know about the Children of the Forest, they were old gods or part of that group or whatever. We don't know a lot about it, but I think that's where he's actually headed a little bit more.
But
Now-
what if the great other and the old gods are the same?
Are the same. Yeah, then
That's always
yeah.
been my assumption.
But my assumption was not that. But maybe my assumption is now that they're a lot more similar, or maybe even the same thing now.
I
So-
tend to lean towards the same thing. That they are the same. They just,
Okay.
Same person, same figures, different names. You know.
Okay.
Different cultures call the same god different things, and they have.
I always thought that
Very
the old
inclusive what
gods
he
and
is.
the great other were separate things, but maybe I'm thinking they're the same or whatever now, because I think there's definitely an old god influence with these children or whatever.
Oh no, I think there's definitely an old god influence. I'm not questioning that at all.
Right.
In fact, I don't think I know there is. There's no way around the mythology of
With
the
the
show.
children, yes. So
Now, this guy in the tree, they're working with him, so I'd assume he'd make the same kind of connection, but,
right.
you know. Well, guys, let's go ahead and move on to...
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can trust the guy in the tree with the skulls surrounding him.
I trust a guy with skulls.
Very
surrounding him.
trustworthy man with the remnants of bodies laying everywhere.
Oh, yeah, no, totally, Austin. Why wouldn't you trust that guy?
I mean, I know we're about to get away from this, but just another question I had while I was watching this is, why were these things, like these skeleton things, fighting right in front of the place where this guy lived, but then they were fighting each other?
It was a test.
Like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, I thought it was
They
interesting
passed
how
through the trials.
they
guess
walked
that's the-
through
I guess-
this battleground of skeletons right in front of the house of the old man under the tree.
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was, why were they so close? And if they're against each other or whatever.
Well, and that's the next question. Can you really trust this guy?
No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, as in you can. I mean, yeah, as in yes. That's the next
okay. I
question.
thought it was really funny.
Sorry.
So we shouldn't trust. Even though Bran's been chasing this guy for 3 seasons, we shouldn't trust him.
No. Why would you trust someone that can get into your head and tell you to do things all the time?
It has a 3-eyed raven. Like, what the crap is that?
And killed off the only guy who could see into the future.
Ooh, why did? Gosh dang it, Austin! Why are they killing Jojen?
The only person who could tell him what's going to happen next. He blows him up with a fireball.
Oh, dang kids of
Well-
the forest.
I think Bran can do a little bit of that too. He just doesn't realize it yet.
That's probably true. All right, well, you know what? I can't wait to see where Bran goes next season.
Yeah, it's gonna be
You know
fun.
You know who I can't wait to see where they go next season? Danny, because I don't really
It's
care right
gonna
now.
Yeah, it's gonna get slow with her for a little bit.
Very slow. Honestly, I think I thought this was. I thought the scene with her this week was great. Was great, if a bit unnecessary. They totally could have pushed us to next season, and I think it still totally would have been fitting. I thought the Jorah send-off was a great way to wrap out that storyline. That said, I thought this was a great scene. Where again, we see her dealing with the complexities of being a ruler and realizing, oh, I was as big. I was all about freedom and the idea of freedom, but freedom comes at a cost.
And she's putting her own quote unquote children on chains.
Well,
Which is
the obvious like imagery there is that she's freeing all these people, but then
she's the chain breaker. She's been called the chain breaker before,
yeah,
and now she's putting
chains, yeah.
her children, quote unquote, in chains. It's just an interesting parallel there.
Well, if she wants to rule a kingdom, she can't have dragons going around burning little kids all the time. Hey, speaking of which, that father, the look on his face when he brought his daughter on there, you know what I was thinking the whole time? It's like, man.
Served your bratty little kid right.
Happy Father's Day!
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
There was a lot of that going on this week, okay? That's all I'm saying.
There was.
There was a lot. You know, the writers intentionally wrote the episode titled "The Children on Father's Day" that happened to have a lot of these that had these moments in there. You know it. You know they were laughing about it. The writers.
Look, I was sad. I was really, really sad to see the dragons get chained up.
Oh yeah, me too. I was
made me really depressed. I think that's a sacrifice you have to make when you have an animal as awesome as dragons around. A few kids are going to die. No big deal. So it's going to happen.
So, you know, Oklahoma has tornadoes.
Who gives a crap about your shitty little kid when you got dragons?
Wow.
So what I'm saying is Oklahoma's got tornadoes, Arizona's got dust storms, and Essos or whatever, Marine, they just have dragons.
It's just a natural
part of it. You just got to live with that and respect it. Sometimes you got to sacrifice some children. No big deal.
You don't so Austin, you're saying you're okay with not being at the top of the food chain?
I mean, I'm okay with it as long as it's like dragons and not like an infection or something. Okay? Wow. As long as it's something awesome.
I mean, dragons are pretty
Sandra knows what we're talking about. She knows sometimes get things done, you got to sacrifice some kids.
Oh! Wow.
Golly.
So, what do you guys think? Did you guys think of this scene, though? I mean, I thought it was pretty sad.
I think it's very interesting how the very first scene we get with her is her petting her dragons, and Jor walks up and says, "They're dragons. You can't keep them trained." And then she sends them off, and then the last scene we get with her is her having to put them on chains and listen to his advice that he's been trying to give to her for 2 seasons.
You know,
and now she's kicked him out.
I totally didn't think of it that way. Now I was like, oh yeah, the dragon that ended up killing the kid was the one that he warned about earlier this season. But I hadn't even thought about oh yeah, and he's gone now, and then her dragon kills someone. It's just kind of funny.
It's also interesting. The first scene and the last scene, he's there to warn her. The last scene, when she listens to the advice, she's kicked him out. It's just interesting how that all played out.
Yeah, no, exactly. She got rid of her most valuable advisor, yada yada. Caleb's bitter, and life goes on. I will say though, I felt like this only continues the parallel of Daenerys as America. To give her people the freedom they deserve, she has to lock away. She has to sacrifice the freedoms of other things that really matter.
And you mean when you go in and liberate a city, they don't always want it?
Yeah. What's up with that? Oh man, it's like, well, I don't want to be free. I want to go work for my master again. Ooh.
He's like, this new world that you're creating me is worse off for me than it was before. I'd rather just go back and be something of importance where I was important to these children. I could be their teacher.
Right.
Now I can't.
Not to mention, her solution was, okay, listen, you're not going to be a slave, but you can go sign a contract where you're indebted to your your boss, which is basically indentured servitude, which is basically the same thing as slavery.
But it's a reasonable solution, I think. I think that's a reasonable solution. If you're trying to change a culture where people have been conditioned to be to feel inferior, and they only feel purpose by being in that type of situation. I think it was a pretty. I have to give her credit, I think, for making a smart, relatively wise decision, giving the man what he wants while thinking about long-term effects.
Okay, that's a good point. Fair enough. We'll give a point to her. Just remember.
But yes, you're right. It is totally just slavery.
Right, listen. For the safety of the people, we have to sacrifice privacy. So, NSA, America, yeah. Okay, I don't know where I was going with that.
Good analogy.
I just had this whole idea of she's locking up the dragons, the things that make her who she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that everyone else can enjoy the freedom. And was making this really dumb, stupid parallel. America is sacrificing right now. America is sacrificing privacy and stuff like that so that we can live happily in safety. You know.
That would be more. That would be more like us locking up our predator drones, which happen to kill innocent people all the time.
Oh, that's going in. Oh gosh, gotta love politicking. Well, it seems like we've had kind of a down night, so I'm gonna bet we don't have any viewers, any questions. But let's just for the sake of it, let me click and find out here. Yep, it's pretty quiet, guys. So that's been a great. That was a great Q&A break, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Oh wait, we did have some feedback on the Twitter.
Oh, we do.
We did.
We had we had a lot of feedback on the Twitter this week. So first off, always love giving a shout out to our buddy, former guest host Dalton Stewart on the show, who just tweeted us Valar Morghulis. And that was it. It was great.
Well, there was a lot of men that died.
There was a lot of men that died. And, you know, I do want to give a shout out to... Hold on, I got to switch Twitters real quick.
Gene Pocket.
Gene Pocket. I tweeted something earlier today where I said...
Last night, actually.
Last night. I said, book readers, we should judge the show based on what's on the screen, not what's not.
Yes, I completely agree with that statement, by the way. Okay.
And you know what? This is where I'm gonna get on a really big box here in a second. But listen, and basically,
so wait,
what was his name?
You gotta tell him what the guy tweeted at you.
Gene Pocket said, "Fuck you." That's what he said.
What? Didn't even spell out
his opinion on that matter.
Didn't even spell out you. Just puts the letter U.
It wasn't just FUC. Like it wasn't even like the full 4 letters, was it? Like.
He just said
he's clearly an epic reader, very good at literacy.
But listen, he's got a rapping channel, Austin. Okay.
What's really funny about this is like when I showed these guys earlier, so I was like, I'm gonna check this guy's Twitter out just to see what he's going on. Like the last 10 tweets before he tweeted Caleb were all the exact same thing to other Game of Thrones people. I thought it was hilarious.
I mean,
we've got a mind troll on Twitter.
That tweet did get a lot of likes and such. So, but Gene Pocket, we respect you and your opinion to say "fuck you" over the Twitter, and
that's what America's about.
And all I've got to say is, listen, man, you just need to like set your expectations properly here, because I'm about to get on a soapbox. Because there's nothing I like to do more than get on soapboxes. So. Not just Gene Pocket here, though, but in general, I have heard a wide array of feedback, positive and negative, from book readers. Some people tend to lay in the camp this was a great finale, but I think there were definitely a handful of people's reactions I've read and I've talked to via text message that this just didn't live up to what they were expecting. And that's for a number of reasons. One, they made changes. Two different scenarios. One of them I will get into at the end of the show. But actually, it's probably better saved for the end. I'm gonna edit. I'll edit this in later. There were several changes. One being the Brienne fight with the Hound that never happened in the books, and people were like, "What? Jojen didn't die." Everyone's like, "What?" And then another one was that Tyrion did not. He has a very crucial character. There's something that happens to him with Tysha, if you recall. That's core to his character and who he's become. Because he fell in love with a whore, quote unquote, right? Well, they omitted that entire. They didn't omit the entire backstory from the character, but they decided not to pursue that story, that plot thread, through the show right now. And I understand why. It's a character that's never been on screen, so viewers aren't going to really have any sort of connection. They're like, oh, you mean that girl that they referenced that one time back in season 1? They decided to omit her, and a lot of people were really let down by that. I understand why, too, because it really is a crucial character moment for him. And honestly, including up into Book 5, it is something that really drives him quite a much. So I understand. However, and there was another particular thing that we will not talk about that people were expecting to see happen that did not happen. And I just have to say to people up there who are upset, hold your horses, guys. The show and the book, while being same creative from the same creative mind of George R. R. Martin, from being very loyal to the source material. They are two different things, existing in their own ways in their own media. And yes, I know it's always sad when you get really excited about something and it doesn't play out exactly like you want to see it, or it doesn't play out at all. You're like, oh, I was really sad they omitted that. But to say that detracts from the episode itself, I think is not giving the show the merits it deserves. I'm dead serious.
Right.
I mean,
you can't. I agree with that completely. You cannot judge the show based on material that it hasn't used yet in the book. We haven't seen how they are gonna, like, what if they do bring in some of that material later and they use it in a different way or whatever. We cannot completely judge the show on certain things because it is different. It is not the book, and I completely agree with kind of where you're going with this. Is the show is a different entity than the book, and even though they draw from the same, although it's drawing from the book, it's doing something different than the book is doing. And so I tend not to be one of those people that get all upset when they change things for adaptions, unless it's just hugely major. I don't think any of those things are really major, and even if they were major, if they do something specific with it or something different enough that it makes it interesting, then it's okay because they're different. You can't judge them. They're two different things. You cannot use the other to judge the other.
It's okay if you want to say the books are better than the show. That's totally cool. If you want to say the show is better than the books, it's your own prerogative. To say though that the lack of material, like they don't use this from the books, makes the show lesser, like the quality of the writing and execution lesser, is not giving the show the proper merit, and it's pretty much crapping on the creators of the TV show and saying, well, you guys don't know how to do it as well. It's not. They're not doing the same thing. They're doing something differently. Right. And I think this episode was one of the best episodes of the show as a whole. And to say that, well, it's just not that because it didn't. Certain things didn't happen or didn't happen the way I expected them to. It makes us less. It's not. That's not real criticism. That is blind fanboyish loyalty to the material. And if you want to think the books are better, that's totally fine.
And if you are like Gene Pocket out there, the Gene Pockets of the world, and you don't like the way the show's going with things, don't watch it. Look, as someone who hasn't read the books, I'm enjoying it. I think it's fantastic, and I don't need to hear you whining every week. I don't care. So, yeah, I mean, if you think the books are better, read the books, be happy with it. Don't worry about the show. Let all the rest enjoy it.
Or watch the show and just accept it for what it is. Don't be like, God. It's not. It's sucking the fun out of the show by saying, oh, well, here's what the books did. Well, this did. Oh, the books did this and the books did that. Oh, the books are so much better. That's not fun. Nobody wants to be in. No one wants to talk about that. Like it's like, oh, well, you're basically people who don't read the books. They're like, oh, so you're telling me my show's not good when it's one of the best freaking shows on TV. And then for some book readers out there who are trying to enjoy the show for what it is, it's like, gosh, man, why do you keep doing this? Like, it's just. Like I don't want to debate with you about this.
Right, and well then there are people out there like me and Caleb, for example, who are book readers who completely love and can find enjoyment in the show without having to always say, well, this is different. Yeah, and there are a lot of other people that we know that are like me and Caleb, where we've read the books and we're totally fine with and think it's fantastic what the show has done. In fact, there are a lot of things that the show have changed that I think are fantastic changes, and I love that they changed that about the book. So I don't think you can. I'm one of those. I like to compare and see how the book and the show do things differently, and that's for other two, like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, whatever you want to do. I like making those comparisons and seeing how different people decide to have a different take on it or whatever. But in the end, you cannot, like Caleb's point is, you cannot use one's material to say, well, because they omitted this particular thing or changed it particularly, it makes it's worse because of it.
For instance, that's like me saying, it's like if and some people are like this, but it's like I'm saying, man, the Harry Potter books were so much better than the movies. It makes the movies less good. No, it doesn't. Well, the movies are still great. That's not the best.
That's kind of true, actually.
No, if you like the books better, which I do like the Harry Potter books better, that's fine. But to say to take away from the story being told on the screen. And there are some Harry Potter movies that aren't great.
Saying because the show did not do this thing that the book did, it's worse. That's not fair.
It's just different. It's not fair.
Right.
And so all I'm saying is, yes, especially the stuff with Tyrion and Tysha, I was a little unsure how they were going to execute that. and they decided to omit it. And I'm kind of like, well, I'm interested to see how they do it because his story is gonna.
Well, see, here's the thing. If they had done that, the conversation we'd be having right now is, why are so many of you like? There's so many people like, who was Taisha?
Yeah.
Half the viewers probably don't even remember who that is.
She was
Like,
mentioned in one conversation
that
in one episode once.
right.
And no one. I would argue that they got to the same result. They just did it all through Shay.
Well,
I agree.
I mean, yes and no. That's why I think for his character, this is going to deviate like his arc a lot actually. But I still think that the end result that this show is going for is going to have the same end result as the books, and I don't think it's really going to change that much. It's like the Brienne and Hound scene. I didn't know what was going to happen. That totally threw me for a loop.
I thought that scene was awesome.
And
I thought it was so much better than some of the things that happened.
And we'll talk about it more in a second. But all my point being is, like the result. Yes, they changed it, but the result was the same. And honestly, I thought the show did it better.
Yep. In that particular scenario, I agree with you. So
all I'm saying, guys, is just cool your jets. If you like the book better, that's cool. Just don't go around blabbing around to everyone about how it's different, because it's okay to talk about it. But when you're one of those people who's constantly comparing it, and I've seen a lot of people doing that out there already. It's just not fun.
Let's all remember the words of Oberyn Martell. I read the books and it delights me. I watch the show and it delights me.
Yep.
I see the book. I see the show, and it delights me. Yes.
That's perfect. That was a perfect way to say that.
Exactly. So let's all just love everything. So everybody love everybody.
Which, funny enough, apparently is not a line from the books.
No, but it worked. Again, we're not going to get the whole other rabbit hole. I'm not going to jump down. But anyway.
It's an awesome line.
I do want to remind all our listeners that you can find us on Facebook.com/CastBeyondTheWall, or you can follow us on Twitter at @cast_beyond_GOT, or you can check us out on YouTube. I think that's a great way to subscribe and find us that way. Or the most important way, the most pivotal way you can help us would be to find us on iTunes, look us up, and subscribe and give us a rating. Because, man, that is what drives us and lets us know the best how to gauge how much our audience likes us. If we're awesome, give us 5 stars. Say we're the best Game of Thrones podcast out there. We're Game of Thrones geniuses. We're like freaking George R. R. Martin himself. Give us 1 star. If we're like a bunch of freaking idiots who are just sitting around talking about crap while they drink, you give us 1 star, man. I don't care. Just tell us how we're doing. And lastly, I want to remind everyone that we are presented by our partner at WeGotThisCovered.com, and they are one of the best sources for gaming, TV, and movie news out there. And there's a little movie called Transformers 4. It's around the corner, a couple weeks out, but I guarantee you, We Got This Covered will have a review up, and it'll probably be early. And you know what it's probably going to tell you? It's probably going to tell you, boom, boom, crash, crash, lots of fun. Then you walk out thinking, why did I watch that movie? Happens every time. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and move on to more storylines. Let's go ahead and get to the Riverlands, in which we meet.
Hey, Caleb, can we take a break real fast?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, we will take a quick 5-minute break. We'll be right back.
All right, thanks.
You should do that.
Well, you like. No, I mean you have like they have like racks on the bottom right? So like you well you start out wider and you get used to it. We always warm up at the bar and everything.
You know, you gotta walk.
Right, often. I mean like
I did 3,000 pounds.
just get back on your
Unless you're freaking mountain.
did you really do that? My friend Joey can back squat like 500 pounds or something stupid. Emma? God. I'm learning so many new things about that.
Sam also has hair back on.
Anyway, I went from back squatting 55 pounds last time to 95. I mean, I knew it was too light last time, but
Right. Well, you gotta gauge yourself. You gotta like get
Right.
yourself.
Right.
And rather figure out that you're not doing as much as you could, rather than overdo it and then actually hurt yourself.
Right.
I mean, like, yeah.
I get too nauseous when I first
Go ahead and get your food. You're on break for another minute or two. So. I like that. I read the books. I read the lights.
We'll get that.
So somebody said F you on Twitter? Is
Someone
that
said,
what
I got a tweet that said "fuck you."
It was just like it's like a troll.
Yeah,
You
it was
know that.
Yeah, he actually went down and said the same thing to a bunch of people. It was just funny though.
He legit like looked for Twitter for book readers and just said fuck you. Because it was all people saying book readers shut up, basically. Which isn't what he was saying. He was
No,
saying
I just was trying to be very critical,
you had the most like reasonable tweet out of all the ones he responded to.
except for the fact that I misspelled freaking assess. I put access. I was so pissed.
I don't.
Because I caught you have no joke. I caught it within 5 minutes, but it was one of those I posted it and because it was trending and crap, it was getting favorited and retweeted. I was like,
You guys have people watching today?
no, there's nobody. It's been dead.
Oh, sorry. I was listening. I just have to.
I mean, there will be people who watch us who will watch us in a little bit, because we actually all our videos still have 60 plus views. So they're gonna hear what we're saying right now, later.
So you turn off the water for me?
All of our shoes are gonna end up right here now.
I know, right? Yeah, avocado's not very good.
Oh.
What are you giggling at over there?
I can't say it on the air. It's something that's really.
We're screaming the F word on the air, so.
No, but this is personal. Not even for me, for someone else. I can't. It's just really ironic.
Is it like rain on your wedding day? Good advice.
Huh? It was over my head. Sorry, I got a text at the same time. Oh, boy.
Are you guys going to do another one next week?
Yeah, we're doing one more next week.
I guess you can do it next time.
We could do it this week. Just depends on schedules and get posted faster, which is honestly, in this case, is probably better.
Yeah, you probably want to do it.
But it's another day recording. I've actually got a pretty busy work schedule this week.
Yeah, are you working on it?
I'm only working 20-some hours, but it's I work.
Interview stuff too.
Oh, but I work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh.
Then I've got Monday, Tuesday off. Sorry, Sunday, Monday off, and then I'm working 30-something. I wonder if they're gonna move me up to full time because I'm working 36 hours next week.
Those sales, they want you to put more, I'm sure.
I guess.
What do you want your best sales people to?
I mean, I want to make money, so I'm cool with it. That's right. On air, you heard me. I like to make money.
Maybe people start sending you money.
Hey, I'll take it.
There's a picture online of Brienne of Tarth punching Mike Tyson, like like at an event.
Yes.
Which is funny because I think both people punch very well, and they both like to bite off ears.
Do you want to do any like role players in this night for your interview?
Can, sure,
I
yeah.
mean, it's up to you. It's totally up to you. I just
Yeah.
thought if you want to practice.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I can do that.
I used to have a copy of all their interview questions.
Oh, it's okay. I guarantee you, it's behavioral. It's a behavioral.
It is, but it's like the exact questions they ask.
Well, that's always nice. It's behavioral. The behavioral interviews are the same. I've done like at least 6 of them by now, probably.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
They want you to, you know how to answer like smart, right? Like
Hello.
the acronym.
You just drank like half my thing.
I don't know, maybe my family just made it so strong. that I
Like, look, there's less than half in here now.
think your mom's house mom.
Okay, we'll go in the other room. What is this that you just sent us?
It's just a thing from Reddit.
No.
I don't remember what movie that's from.
You were right.
All right. Sorry. And there we go.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's good. I wish we could. Can we pop those images up in the screen? I don't know how to do that.
I don't know.
It'd be kind of handy because we're always exchanging little memes and stuff during the podcast. So, all right. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to Brienne and Podrick. And worlds collided, not just in the north, but in the Riverlands, guys. And we have to see that Podrick is still a terrible, not exactly the most useful squire out there because he lost the horses. But it's
Or
okay.
they were stolen.
Sorry?
He says they might have been stolen.
I'm sure he said that. There's Podrick, and then so we get to see Brienne, but we get to see though because he lost the horses, we get to see Brienne, who got to have a nice little brief exchange with Arya. She finally found Arya, and they talked about water dancing and sword fighting, and she's like, my dad told me fighting was for girls, but I kept doing it anyway, and it made me stop and think. In another world where her family wasn't brutally murdered and killed and she's seen all this evil darkness and things, Arya and Brienne could almost be the same person in a lot of ways. Brienne fights for honor and nobility, and she's got this really great idea she's striving for. And Arya was on that path at one point, and then kind of took a giant detour through hell, where she saw all her family members die, her aunt died, all of it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, it's more complicated.
I didn't start thinking along those lines necessarily until the Hound made his statement of, "I wish you liked that a woman killed, was the one that that got me or whatever." I was like, "Yeah, Arya could have been a lot. Arya could have been a Brienne-ish type, especially towards the beginning of her childhood."
Yes.
She'd been much smaller. She would not have been she'd been a rogue, not a warrior.
But you know what? It's too bad that this exchange kind of had to happen, because the second you saw Brienne show up, you knew that this was going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sad.
And I was shocked because I didn't know what was going on, and it's like, oh crap. By the way, the Hound was taking a crap whenever. whenever Bran walked up, I thought that was kind of funny. There was lots of deaths involving crapping this week, so.
It's a little ridiculous that they actually just found each other randomly in the wilderness.
Well, it wasn't totally random. Like, okay, because they were heading. Bran and Podrick were heading towards the Bloody Gate, and the Hound and Arya were coming back from the Bloody Gate, so it's not that far-fetched.
And then the other part of that is, how did no one tell Littlefinger that there was another Stark outside the gate, and that wasn't taken care of? It just seemed kind of weird that they would just turn them away without ever, like, raising attention that this could be a potential thing someone would not know about. But anyway, there was the huge epic battle.
We didn't get to see what happened with Littlefinger this week, so I guess we don't know. That is kind of. I mean, that's a very good point. What was going? None of the guards address Tara, you know?
Yeah, it just seems like he's kind of obsessed with collecting people, essentially, that are important.
Maybe he doesn't like Arya, because remember there was a time in season 2 where he saw her too and didn't do anything with her either. He just doesn't like Arya. That's what it is.
That's true. She was like.
Crazy.
Saw her there in Harrenhal, and just ignored her. The saddest part about this entire scene, though, the saddest thing, was that she didn't get to give Arya Hot Pie's gift.
I know. I was so sad. She had the little wolf cake that was so much better this time.
Poor Hot Pie. Never gets no respect.
The thing that, like, I don't know. Like, I was like, oh wow, the two characters that don't know each other are going to intersect. Like, I thought that was kind of cool.
This never happens in Game of Thrones. This never happens. Like, the fact that this happened on multiple storylines this episode is awesome. Like, 'cause this just doesn't happen ever.
But the thing that really got me was like when she's like, when Brienne says, "I was sworn." When Brienne starts figuring out who she is, and she says, "I was sworn to protect your mother," and then Arya says, "Why didn't you?" I was just like, "Dang, Arya!" Like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of like interesting how that was her mindset. Was like, not, "Oh, I can trust her." It was, "Well, you didn't." So
yeah, that was like ouch when she's like,
it was like kind of dark a little bit.
Yeah. It was like, ooh.
Like, that's where her mind is at right now. It's not, "Oh, you were trying to protect my mother. You're on my side." It was, "Well, you did a poor job, so
why should I trust you?"
Why should I trust you? Like,
I mean, she has learned a very, very valuable lesson, I think, and it's that no one can be trusted. Just because someone comes up and says, "Oh yeah, I totally know your parents," that's stranger danger 101 right there.
Stranger danger. That's exactly what it is. You know what? I just gotta say, I thought it was really great when the Hound actually took some ownership of Arya this week. You know, she's like, "I'm gonna protect her," and he's like, "Protect her from who? Her mother's dead, her brother's dead, her aunt's dead, her father's dead. Like, what are you gonna do?" And she's like, "Well, who else is gonna look after her?" She's like, "You," and he's like, "Yeah, I am." And I just was like, it hit me in the heart. I was like, it's like, man, the Hound really does care. He's not a total evilly, cold-hearted bastard. Like, he actually does care about Arya. I mean, I know it's been building towards that, but it was really nice to see like that him actually say that. And what made it worse was you're like, but oh crap, they're about to fight. Like, so it was really, really, really upsetting to me to see it fight. But man, they had what a fight, what a matchup too.
It was a great.
It was a great pairing too.
We didn't even think of it last week when we were coming up with awesome fights, but this one was great. It started off as a really cool sword fight and slowly descended into barbarism. It was just ridiculous.
I will say I don't think I would have.
I
will say I don't think I would have picked Brienne the victor in this fight beforehand. So maybe she's a lot. I mean, not. I always thought, I knew she was a great fighter, obviously, but I don't think I would have picked her over the Hound. So.
Well, the Hound about snapped her neck there at one moment. I thought, oh, she's dead. She's totally dead.
No,
it's going to be House Game 2-0. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the thing. Like, because it was new, like I hadn't seen it before. I knew kind of where the Hound was supposed to end up, but I thought I thought they deviated, and it was just like, whoa. I thought that he was going to kill Brienne. I really did. And I really did think that there was a point where he was going to snap her neck. My favorite part, though, is how this fight just escalates into like straight up brawling. Like, starts off as a sword fight between knight style, and then she has him down, and he's like, "I'm not a knight." Grabs the sword and like slowly stands up and then punches in the face. She crotch punches him. I mean, holy crap! Yeah, it just got dirty really fast.
And then he gets kicked down the mountain.
And then he kicked down the mountain, and I actually thought he died, and I was really upset. And then I remembered, wait, he doesn't die yet. So, because I knew that the whole scene, it was actually really great the way this all worked out, because this is kind of where the Hound's supposed to end up, a beaten man on the side of the road. And guys, Arya really is in a dark place.
Yeah.
She's in a really dark place. I mean, this season's been building towards, but I'm just like, wow, she won't even kill him. She wouldn't kill him, even though she doesn't. I don't think she wants to kill him anymore, but she wouldn't kill him to put him out of his misery. And I liked how he actually tried to taunt her into doing it. He's like, "Oh, that butcher's boy, saddle sell the smell of dead butcher's boy for days."
I think that's part of the reason why she didn't kill him. It is because of those things. She reminds him, is like, for her, from her mindset. I'm not saying that this is what my mindset is, but for her mindset, he's this evil guy. He deserves to die a slow and painful death, and so that's what she gave to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's fitting for the Hound, I guess, that he. I mean, it's because it's like the worst way for him to die. Like, that's not how he wanted to go.
It was really sad. Like, he was all like, I should have, like, he said, this is literally what he said. He said, I should have raped Sansa. I would have at least had one happy memory. Like,
yeah,
that was, as horrible a statement as that was, it was really sad.
Like, it was so sad. I was like, man, this guy really...
You don't think he actually meant it, though. I think he was just saying it to try to get her to kill him. I really do.
I don't know.
I kind of think he meant it. He's talked about stuff. He talked about his relationship with his dad and his brother and stuff. He had a pretty rough life.
He did, but I felt like it was.
I mean, we've never seen him smile.
Totally just saying it because he wanted her to kill him. It was the same thing with the butcher's boy. The only reason he was saying that was because
there's always a little truth to it.
He knew it would affect Arya, and that's how cold and far she's lost. It doesn't even bother her, or she doesn't let it bother her.
There's always a little truth to that stuff, though, I think.
Right.
But yeah, she just leaves him there. I assume he's dead. We don't see it. We just kind of assume that he's dead now. It would take something of a miracle for him to survive that, I think.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting, though, that they made a big deal about him getting infected when he got bit on the neck and stuff, and that didn't end up playing into anything at all.
No, and I thought that was going to be kind of his downfall, but it really wasn't. I guess, if anything, it might have weakened him during the battle. Like, maybe he was a little weak from the infection, like recovering from the infection, I guess, maybe. But yeah, I totally thought that was going to be his downfall. Like, he was just going to get beat up by thugs or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think this was definitely. I mean, it's not going to top the Oberyn Mountain duel just because the stakes there, but this was up there, best fights of Game of Thrones. I mean, this is easily top 3 fights on Game of Thrones, hands down.
It was really good. It was really good. There was no flipping ninja awesomeness, but it was good.
But there was just like 2 huge people just getting in a brawl like that. Well,
could you imagine how more intense the fight would be if there were a couple chickens at stake? The Hound would have fought for everything.
This was the guy who would eat every fucking chicken. Who's gonna eat the chickens?
I don't know. There's gonna be like a
Arya's
calamity
coming
of
back
chickens
for the
now.
chickens, okay? Arya's coming back for the chickens, okay? She's gonna go do her thing, and then when she comes back, she's gonna get the chickens, and that's how that's gonna happen.
So we'll make it back to Arya, but before we get to the bookend of the season, I definitely want to go to King's Landing. And there's a lot to talk about at King's Landing this week. Holy crap! First off, we make it to King's Landing, and it looks like, to Austin's detriment, Gregor the Mountain Clegane did in fact survive. Somewhat.
So far.
I mean, as in he's alive.
This guy says he can save him, but Pycelle says he's dead. We'll see what happens.
The funny thing about this is the guy says he will be changed, which I think signals to us that they're going to cast another actor for him.
I'm sure that's exactly.
He will be changed. He'll be a completely different actor next season.
But will he be able to deadlift 1,000 pounds?
Apparently, that's all Cersei was concerned with.
That's what Cersei was worried about. Will he be as powerful? And then the other thing I want to highlight here, though, is Oberyn might have died, but he was fighting dirty. Because even if he died, he wanted to make sure Clegane suffered. So his blade was laced with poison, and Clegane was suffering miserably. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, go Oberyn.
And lastly, what did you guys think about Qyburn kind of like taking over for Pycelle? Not that that's a huge deal with the Maesters and stuff, but I thought it was interesting.
Pycelle's useless.
And Cersei realizes it.
Qyburn is like Dr. Frankenstein. I'm game. I'll go with it.
You'll go with all the crazy experimentation and such?
Yeah, sounds interesting.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it'd be more interesting than Pycelle just being a freaking
and Cersei's
all the
found
time.
and Cersei's found a way to get rid of Pycelle because I think she's always found Pycelle super annoying, but she needed him to stick around. And now she's found someone who's probably a little bit better, and so she's like, "Yep, let's kick him to the curb and have this guy come take over."
He's outlived
Qyburn can give her some Botox and little nip tuck and stuff. He's got those skills.
He's getting a little old, so I guess you could use it. Plastic surgery. Next thing you know, there's going to be a spinoff called Nip Tuck, Game of Thrones edition.
The mountains change is actually going to be a sex change.
That's the only way he could survive.
Yeah.
Exactly. But moving on to things, Edwards, I just think we are going to see more Qyburn. He is kind of weaseled his way because he was in earlier this season, I think, with Jaime's hand, and now with Cersei. I wonder if we're not going to see a little more of this guy in the future. Just the way they've kind of played on it. But anyway, moving on. So we also got a great scene between Cersei and Tywin. And Tywin's not backing down. He's like, nope, you're still marrying Loras. You're still marrying the sword swallower. Suck it. And then she plays the card, guys.
This is brilliant.
She played a lot of cards in this game this episode.
Yeah, which, by the way, well, none of her cards are going to come through for her, but she played a lot of them.
I don't know. I think they may have come through.
I think the end. I mean, I guess the problem took care of itself because Tywin's still out of the picture. But I mean, it was a pretty good way to like throw him off his balance a little bit. Say, you know what, those rumors about me and Jaime, they're true. And
yeah, but like,
maybe it made him ponder a little bit longer on the toilet because of
what else did he pondering about on the toilet?
Well, the whole card with Jaime though completely failed. So.
Oh no, it didn't. What are you talking about? I mean,
well, the whole reason she did that is so that he wouldn't go and save him, and he went and saved him anyway.
No, that's not what I took from it. What I took from it was
what I took from it is that she was like, choose me, don't, because she knows that he wants to go and save him, and so she's like, don't go save him, let him die, and she like goes after him sexually or whatever, just as a complete manipulation tool, and he saves him anyway. Is how I saw it.
I saw it more as she's trying to like assert her power just in general to say that I thought it was more of an FU to Tywin than anything.
I don't know.
She's like, I'm not gonna marry Loras. I want to be with you.
I think that's true, but I think part of it also was she's saying those things to try to get Jaime like, look, hey Jaime, brother of mine that I love, will you be with me and let our brother go? Like, choose. I thought it was a manipulation tool to try to get him to not go and save Tyrion is what I thought it was, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong because I don't think the show definitely doesn't shut that idea down. That's just not what I took from it, but I think you're definitely onto something there. I mean, she's just trying to get her way, and obviously using her body and her love and their relationship to get those things, because that's what Cersei does.
She's been shutting him out ever since he's been back, and then all of a sudden she's all into him. All of a sudden,
no, she's totally not into him. She's just it's an asserting control thing. She's like saying, I'm controlling my own destiny.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's that. I definitely think I thought it was a cool scene. She played the incest card, and then she played the sex card with Jaime. I think she's manipulative, but really, as you said, it didn't really work because Jaime still goes to save Tyrion. And
woohoo!
So yeah, there you go, everybody. It looks like it finally came true. I wouldn't say it's totally Deus Ex Machina, but Tyrion did get out of it. What do you think, Austin? What did you think, Austin?
It wasn't Deus Ex Machina. It was Deus Ex. I don't know. Golden Hand is what it was. It wasn't God's hand. It was Golden Hand. I thought it was really good. I mean, I think we kind of saw it coming a little bit. I never thought Varys had actually turned on Tyrion. I think Varys was doing what he had to do until the moment when he could actually, help him. And Jaime obviously was always trying to help Tyrion. Those were his only two friends. So if Tyrion was going to make it out of it, and I thought he would, I figured it was going to be Jaime or Varys, and it happened to be both, which is even more awesome.
They team up.
Yeah, to get the tag team action. It was pretty cool. It wasn't surprising, I guess, but it was fun to see. All right, we're going to get to have more Tyrion.
Yeah, Tyrion's not out of the game yet, and I'd have to say $50 says Tyrion never sees Jaime again, because they have that moment where they're like, I love you, thank you for doing this, and they're like, I guess this is farewell, and you're like, well, whenever characters say goodbye in Game of Thrones, it means they don't ever see each other again.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story when I return.
They really did. I think the show did a really good job of showing how much they really do care about each other this season. I know we've talked about it several times already this season, but again, we just get another great moment between the two of them where they really do love and care about each other. And it just sucks that they've been put in a world where they can't really be really good brothers. They can't have those moments as often as they would like to have them. And that's kind of sad. But it is great that we get to see it one more time, the relationship that they do have.
It'll be interesting to see if in the future Jaime even wants to talk to Tyrion anymore because of the later scenes.
Well, yeah, then there's that where Tyrion gets out of it, and here's a little bit of foreground. Again, I'm not gonna say it looks better than blue, whatever. Basically, the reason
I will say
Tyrion knows, I did think it was kind of unusual that Tyrion just happened to know the secret passageways. I don't know if Austin thought anything of it, but not a big deal.
Well,
That's nitpicky, I thought.
Yeah.
But,
He was Hand of the King for a while, so.
Well, that's why he knows, is because when he was looking up for information at Blackwater, he found out about them. That's how he knew about it. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Good point. I literally, yeah, there you go. Okay, it's good. Never mind. Forget that little nitpick. It doesn't exist. It's gone. So...
Okay, by the way, when this happened,
sorry, go ahead.
I was watching with my wife who didn't know what was going on, and it was really funny to see her kind of reaction when he doesn't go through the door and he goes up. She was like, no, like you have the escape. What the heck are you doing?
Feeling.
Why are you going back? Like she had the same feeling with Oberyn when he's on top of the mountain and he has him there, and he's won the battle. He can just win and survive. And he decides to let it play out a little bit longer and ends up getting him killed. It was kind of funny seeing her have that reaction of, no, don't walk up the stairs. Just accept the fact that you just won and walk out. Like it was just
get out.
And there was a little bit of that. My thoughts. I was freaking out. I was like, please don't. Please just go. Just go.
Just let it be, man. Just.
So I couldn't decide who he was going to go kill. My real thought was he was going to kill Cersei, but
he was going to kill Cersei.
He didn't choose that.
Well, he didn't go to Cersei's chamber. He went to the chamber of the Hand of the King because him and Tywin had some score to settle. And what does he find?
Yeah. Okay. Is anyone else like, why the crap is she in his bed? Like, what the crap? Is he sleeping with her? Like, what the crap is going on there? Like, why is she even there?
Well, of course she is.
Oh yeah, she's definitely sleeping with him.
Yeah, I know, but Tywin's the guy who's always tells Tyrion don't mess around with whores, blah 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 blah.
Exactly. He's a giant hypocrite. That's why.
Yes. I guess I'm not as convinced that he was sleeping. They were sleeping together, I guess, but
you're not. Really?
I don't. Well, I mean, it's just
there you are, my lion.
No, I know, but it's just hard for me to buy him as a character doing that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think it totally fits. It totally fits.
I don't think it fits the character as much.
Oh, it does, because the whole point is to show that he's been giving Tyrion all this shit his whole life about whores, but when in reality he's sleeping with whores. In reality, his whole this whole mantra about family is a load of crap. Like, it's an all selfish reason. And stuff, Tyrion's called him out on it. He says it's for the family. It's not. It's for him. It's a load of hypocrisy and crap. And that's what that represents. That I mean, A for Tyrion, then is his attempt to when he kills her, that's vengeance. And B, I think it fits his character because it shows how much of a fraud he is. Really, he has all this mantra that he's always throwing out, and the things he gave Tyrion the most crap about, he himself partook in. Giant hypocrite. I think it totally fits.
I don't know. I'm not as convinced, I guess. I mean, I definitely think that's what's really happening, but I'm not as convinced that he would make that decision based on the time when I know. But
do you think what Tyrion did to Shae was just?
Is cold-blooded murder ever just?
Well, the reason I asked this is
it felt good.
it felt at the time like she had it coming, right? That's how it felt to me at the time. And the more I thought about it, and I read some stuff that people had written and stuff, I started to think like that all hinges on why she showed up at the trial. Was she captured and forced into that situation, and was essentially had to have sex with Tywin in order to live, or did she, after Bronn, if he even did, I'm still not convinced he did, dropped her off at the boat, if she willingly left to go screw over Tyrion, then yeah, she totally had it coming. But if she was forced in that situation and just did what she had to do...
I don't know. I don't think she was forced into that situation, especially the way she said, "Oh, my lion." I don't think that was forced. I think that was totally...
You don't think so? It sounds like something someone would say in order to just survive. She would say that, play the game, do what she needed to do in order to not be...
I don't think, but she's not smart
enough. But she was all about, like, let's fight them together, me and you, blah, 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 blah. Like, she would not have... I feel like she did it out of... She was mad that Tyrion, sent her away, so she got back at him. I feel like that's what it was. I don't think she realized the implications of what she was actually doing, though. Like, I don't think she fully realized how important what she said was. But she was all about, when they were together, taking them down, the two of them together, taking over and all this jazz. I feel like she was a fighter. She wanted to be a fighter, let me say, anyway. And so I feel like she did this out of vengeance, not out of survivability.
I think that's the more likely scenario. I do. But I know when I watched it, I definitely jumped to the conclusion that, all right, this is vengeance, this is Tyrion, getting back at her and stuff like that. And then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I don't actually have all the information in this scenario.
I think it's an important point for Tyrion, though, because he has now murdered somebody. Like, that's a big deal. Like,
two somebodies.
Like, well, right. But, like, his character had never done anything like that before. And now he's made all of a sudden on this night, he's made these two murders. Like, it changes a character. Like, his character has definitely changed. He would never have murdered. We've never seen him murder somebody before.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing people bring up in the books with the Lock of the Tysha stuff. Part of the reasons he does that is because he's in a blind rage when that happens. Which I think he's still in a blind rage from the Shae thing. Which is fine. I think the Shae thing. And now after everything he's already been through, I think it's more than justified. Like with that.
He just completed his transformation into Tywin. That's
well,
what he did.
the whole thing is
they're a lot more like him.
Really funny.
They're a lot alike.
I feel like in the moment, I think Tyrion kind of said he kind of alluded to. I'm trying to remember with a line in the books. He kind of alludes to the fact that my whole life people have told me I'm this or that. The monster. He talks about how people call them monster, stuff like that. So he's just like, F it. I'm gonna become the monster you think I am. And if this is who you think I am, then I'm going to kill you. You know what I mean? Like there's no like. He just kind of snaps psychologically when he does that. And I don't blame him. I don't know if murdering Shae was the right thing. It felt justified. And when it comes to dealing with Tywin stuff, which we haven't even really gotten into that scene specifically, Tywin kind of had it coming too. Tyrion
for sure had it coming.
In regards to Tyrion, absolutely.
I think there's question. I think there was question surrounding Shae, at least a little bit of doubt, I think. But Tywin, 100% had it coming. How many people has he killed?
I love that Tyrion Ship called on. He said, "You knew I didn't poison him, but you sentenced me to death anyway." dang, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just like, why would you do that? And what I liked in that scene was Tywin tried to play his bag of tricks, like, for the manipulation. You know, he's all, oh, you're a Lannister, I would never sentence you to death. And
You don't really have much negotiating power when you're sitting there pooping.
he is sitting there pooping on the toilet. It was great. What is it for the most powerful man in Westeros to get killed on the freaking toilet, huh?
That's
What's
what Littlefinger said 2 episodes ago.
It just shows how little.
Sometimes people die sitting over their chamber pots.
Get on
It's
your
just-
little finger.
It just baffles me how I do think this fits his character 100%. How little recognition he gives his children, even when they're sitting there with a crossbow pointed at his face. He still honestly believes that he's not going to pull that trigger. He doesn't have it in him. He's not capable of that. Like he still undervalues his children, even in the moment of in that moment. He
When
still does
Tyrion's got all
not
the
think that
power.
Tyrion has the guts to pull the trigger. It is not capable of killing him, and that's how little he values his children. Honestly, you know,
Well,
and I don't know. It's just
That's
baffles me
totally
how
true.
it
how
was just such a powerful
undervalued he has
thing
him.
because it highlighted like both of their characters and it highlighted that. I mean, Tywin's arrogance and all of that. But I also thought it was funny that Tyrion said, "My whole life you've wanted me dead," and he's like, he didn't even make any bones about it. He's like, "Yep, I totally have, and I commend you for not dying." You know, I was like, "What?"
I
mean, like,
respect it. Like
That
what?
was so
Like,
stupid.
it was like you didn't know what to say. I mean, so it's like, gosh.
He said, "I respect you." That is the dumbest line, probably of the entire show, and it was supposed to be dumb, right? It
It
dumb.
was. And again, I
was
feel like that was
hilarious.
him trying to play his bag of tricks, like his things he's always telling people. You know, he told his kids their whole life to like manipulate them, and it was just him trying to do the same thing. Like, oh, I don't like you, but I respect you, and you're a Lannister. I'd never kill you. And he's like, let's go talk about this in our chambers, thinking that he's still in control.
I think that was up there with "I'm gonna eat every chicken in this room."
Except for that line was awesome. That was badass awesome.
That and when Bran hears "You will never walk again," it was also hilarious. Oh God. So yeah, we had another touching Happy Father's Day moment.
Austin, out of my mouth, man. Out of my mouth. I was literally about to say the same thing. So, yes, he says, "You're no son of mine." Second arrow. Happy Father's Day.
Well, I love it. Like Tyrion totally holds up with his promise. He calls her a whore or whatever. And he says, "If you call her whore one more time, I'm going to shoot you." And he blah 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 whore, but boom! Like just did not even wait a second. Just like pulls the trigger immediately. Like it's perfect.
I love that it was Joffrey's crossbow. It makes me so
I thought
happy.
it was great that it was Joffrey's crossbow, too. I was very excited to see that.
Killed by the monster that he created, or like his own tools and stuff. It just all of it was just so good.
Well, I mean, this really was Tywin past coming back to haunt him. And it was great. It was the exchange was perfect to highlight their relationship.
And it's very fitting that it was his own children, like one of his children that did it. Like those have been the only thing he's never given the credit that they deserved. So,
And Daniel Stahl called it a year ago.
2 seasons ago.
Yes, he called it, and one of our episodes from last season, Daniel called it, said that he said specifically that one of his kids were going to kill him, and then you said Tyrion was going to do it. Not based off of any information or anything, you just totally like a shot in the dark, but you called it, sir.
Yeah, I did, and that was actually the very first thing I did when I read about it in the book. Like literally within seconds, I sent Caleb and a couple other people that had read the books. Like I called it from so long ago. Like I knew it. Like it's the first thing I did when I read it.
I have to give props to you. I mean, you guys can go back and listen to one of our last season's podcasts. I don't remember exactly which episode it was. It was earlier in the season, I remember. But yeah.
Yeah.
Good call on you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, what's funny, before we move on from the death of Tywin's scene here, I do want to highlight that, I think it's interesting to note that Tyrion said, "I am and have always been your son." And what's so funny, and Austin just kind of alluded to it too, is Tyrion is so much like Tywin, it's not even funny. Like, he really is the true successor to Tywin.
He is the most like Tywin of any of the children.
Now, by far. And up until his last moment, Tywin just refused to see that, Like, he just couldn't see it. I don't know. It's so crazy.
Like even after he shoots him the first time, he's like, "You shot me!" Like he's all like, he just refuses. Like I don't. Oh gosh,
He's
it's actually
like-
kind of irritating.
Tywin lives in his own little world, and because he's got as much power and he's as cunning and smart as he is, he manages to get in control. But like he is kind of living his own reality though, because he doesn't, especially when it comes to his family. You know, like because he doesn't understand. He doesn't really know Tyrion, honestly, and he doesn't
Right.
realize that Cersei and Jaime have been doing it, or at least if he does, he's in total denial about it. So it's really funny that how a character of this power and magnitude could actually be so out of touch with reality. You know, I don't know. Far more obsessed with the idea of family than he actually is with family, and Cersei actually called him on that, and I thought it was really great. All right, well, the last note on King's Landing is Tyrion does make it out thanks to Varys. Varys is like, holy crap, what have you done? Break him out, ships him in a little box off to Essos. And then, I loved it, Varys is like starting to walk back to the castle, and the bells start chiming, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to get on the boat.
Well,
So
it showed. Yeah, it was great. I just love that little moment where he just. He understands what's happening, and he understands that he's totally gonna be a part of the discussion, and so he just.
Right.
He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna be out of this one.
He's like, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about it, which is kind of crazy because he's been there for so long and had power for so much long, and now he's going to be back to nothing. But you know what's cool, though? We are going to get a road trip bromance comedy next year. Tyrion and Varys on the road in Essos. I'm all about that.
Well, we don't know that they're going to Essos.
Well, where else are they going to go? Bravos? The Wall? They can go to the Wall. Why not go to the Wall? Sure.
Dorne, the Wall. They could go lots of places.
They could go to
But
Dorne. That would be
I
fun.
assume they're going to Essos, especially if Varys is going along, since that's where he's from. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even brought that up in that scene with Oberyn.
I'm very excited for next season. and Varys, I don't know where they're going with him now. I'm excited. It's new things because Varys does not get on the boat in the books. So this is new, and I'm very excited to see where they're going.
Speaking of boats,
Speaking of boats, this wasn't the only boat that shipped sail this episode. What else shipped sail? Arya finally makes it to the docks, and she's like, hey, I want to go to the Wall. And the guy's like, we don't take her to the Wall. Where are you going? Going to Bravos. Bam! He said the magic word. She pulled out the coin and said the other magic word. And now she's going to Bravos, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally happened. They've been alluding to this for seasons, and now she's there. Or, well, going there. What do you think?
It's gonna be. It's. I think it's awesome. I think that, like you said, back even in season 1 with Syrio, her sword master from Bravos, they've been alluding to this place for her, and then Jack and Hagar in season 2, from Bravos as well. So yeah, I think it's really nice to finally see her headed that direction and moving on into the next step of her plot of her storyline.
Well, I thought it was actually kind of cool. I thought it was kind of nice though too, because in the end she decided to take. She's been following everyone else's path this whole time, right?
Right.
She had to follow other people, and now she's kind of trailblazing her own path. She decided
she's on her own now. She's on her
totally
own.
on her own. Yeah, and the decisions she's making are her own. And instead of follow the Hound or go with Brienne, who was just going to take her down the next trip, she said, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to do it my way.
So what's the significance of the iron coin? Like, obviously I know Jaqen gives it to her and all that, but why do Braavosi men do what the holder says? Is it just basically saying, like, you should do what this person says or the faceless men are going to come after you?
Oh, that wasn't discussed in the episode. I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get to that. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that.
I think it's kind of like a code that the faceless men probably use to travel around, if I had to guess. I don't know if it means they're going to come after you, but like they know. This guy knows what the coin is, and he knows what the words mean.
Yeah, that's all I would say, I guess. I don't really know what it means. My guess would be it's just that coin obviously symbolizes something about the faceless men or Bravos or whatever, and when you say that word, like you just have an understanding. I don't know.
Will be interesting. I want to. If she actually does end up training with the faceless men, it will be very, very cool.
No, no, absolutely.
Then they can
Let's see what-
recast her.
They're going to have to recast her. She keeps aging the way she does. So I do want to wrap up by saying that our favorite characters, Arya, Tyrion, and Varys, they decided rather than partake in the fight, they're just going to get the hell out of Dodge. It's a smart thing to do. Just get the hell out of Dodge, guys. It's going crazy. And honestly, I think that Westeros is going to be so different next year. No Tywin,
Yes.
no Joffrey. There's no. I mean, like a lot of our big players are totally gone.
And then, now, assuming that we're correct, which I'm pretty sure we are about the boat, Tyrion and Varys aren't going to be there either.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of our favorite characters.
Who's there? Cersei and Jaime are there.
Cersei and Jaime are in King's Landing.
Stannis has re-entered the game, which is nice.
Stannis has re-entered the game in the north. But it seems like the emphasis is going to be taken off the King's Landing stuff. Now, I think it's still going to be important because it's obviously the hub for all the politics and where the big decisions are made. But, I mean, as far as you have to think, we're going to be spending a lot less time in Westeros and more in other places. So the Wall, north of the Wall,
The North and the
Essos,
Wall.
Arias and Bravos. Like, it's becoming even more sprawling. And then, not to mention, I mean, what about Dorne, which we think is probably going to be a big part next season based on the casting announcements? I mean, all of a sudden, all these other players are going to be coming into the game, and we're going to be losing, and our characters are no longer going to be in Westeros. So it seems like the scope of Game of Thrones is getting a little bigger.
I think we can safely say that the complete collapse of the Lannister family is imminent now without the two smartest people in the family involved.
The two that actually held the family together.
Yeah, so the person who's actually going to run it now is a little crazy.
Yeah, she's
She is
just a little bit.
mentally. She is not. She's not sane.
It will be really cool to see. I don't know that it can happen. It'd be cool to see if Tommen is actually able to come into his own and put his mother in her place.
Well, and you have to remember
That'd be
too. Do not forget about Marjorie.
Yeah, we haven't seen her in like half the season.
I think Marjorie is a little screwed. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think without Tywin gone to enforce the whole Tyrell marriage thing, I think she's kind of screwed and she should get out.
Well, all I'm saying though is Marjorie is also betrothed to Tommen.
It doesn't have to be. That can end real fast.
Yeah, but who's gonna make
Especially
that
with
call?
Cersei in charge.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Marjorie. What if Marjorie's already got her claws into what Cersei's afraid of? Marjorie's already got her claws in Cersei.
In Tommen.
Or sorry, in Tommen, yeah.
Which
So,
was that whole scene where she goes and talks to him while at the night. She's
I
already
don't know.
tried to make that.
We have never seen Tommen be really assertive, so I have no reason to believe that he wouldn't just listen to his mother.
all right. Oh, well,
That's
that
fair.
remains to be seen. We'll have to wait until next season to find out. There's a lot of threads
Indeed.
still hanging. I do think, though, to kind of close out the discussion, there is a sense of completion that we got with this season. A lot of the War of the Five Kings is totally done. I mean, like it's pretty much
Yeah.
done last season with the death of Robb, but this was after the effects and the fallout of that are done. The Lannister, their story arc, really, if you think about it, even more so than the Starks in a lot of ways, they have been the main characters so far. And
One of
they're
the
all
kings didn't even get to fight yet.
And Balon Greyjoy is up there doing who God knows what.
He's just waiting for all the other kings to kill each other off, and then he's gonna swoop in.
He's having drinks with Jack Sparrow, man. Drink up your mate, yo ho.
Yeah,
I
he
would
wasn't
assume,
even.
I would
he wasn't
assume
even
he's gonna
in the
fight
season,
Stannis
like-
next season. We'll see.
Ooh, that'd be cool. What about the Boltons?
I don't know. I don't know if Stannis cares about the Boltons per se, and I don't know maybe the Greyjoys do. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we can discuss that next week.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about that next week. But there was a sense of completion, and so we're getting to see a new start for some of our characters. I think which is kind of the thing that excites us the most. Arya, despite having an incredibly dark story arc this whole show, but this season especially, there's a sense of hope. She's on her way to Bravos as the show plays out too. With Tyrion, yeah, it sucks he got out, but he got out alive, and he's going somewhere new possibilities, new hope. And I do feel like, and even with Sansa, she's not in the best place, but she's actually starting to take control of her situation. I just feel like there is a sense of happy. There is a little happier than typical Game of Thrones fashion, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird.
It very, very weird. And
It was interesting because I was thinking about this. Maybe I'm trying to force this too much, but last season, at the end of the season 3, all these characters were headed down like dark, depressing sort of things, and now they've all turned around except for last season. The very last season, the last scene we get is with Dani. She's in all the people are lifting her up and calling her mother, and now she's sort of flipped, and she's not in that. She's sort of struggling now, where all these other characters are maybe coming out of their struggles and maybe looking to something new and positive. So it's kind of interesting how that works out.
Right. Well, and also last note, I thought I don't know why, but I thought the music, especially the songs they played out there, I thought the music in general was just, they upped their game this episode.
Oh yeah, it was very, very solid.
Go back, especially, I caught it more the second time, but go back and listen to some of the tracks, especially the way they played out. They had the whole children's choir singing and all that crap. They had a good run with the soundtrack this week.
Yeah, music was fantastic this week.
All right, well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in with us this week as we reviewed the season finale of the Game of Thrones Season 4, The Children. What a great season. What a great show. So much to talk about until next year. And you know what? We're going to talk about it next week. We're going to talk about the season as a whole. We're going to go back and do a retrospect on Season 4 and do kind of an overview. Is this the best season of the show so far? Is this one of the best seasons of TV on TV? How does this stack up against the other storylines? Kind of reflect on how some of these storylines have moved and grown, and kind of assess it, because guys, a lot happened this season. I think we do need to take some time, just some post-mortem digest here. There's a lot of crazy going on. So make sure to tune in next week when we do our Season 4 review, and hopefully we'll have a special guest on where we can talk Game of Thrones with someone new and kind of wrap down the season before we go on a little bit of a hiatus. But thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in, and again, follow us for all our updates next week and throughout the year at facebook.com/castbeyondthewall or on Twitter at cast_beyond_GOT. And, of course, you can always find all of our posts and coverage on WeGotThisCovered.com. And if you do want to stay tuned in and you liked what we heard this season, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, because next year, even if you forget who we are or whatever, subscribe and you will still download our new episodes, because we will be back and we will be recording next year, ladies and gentlemen, because we cannot talk enough about Game of Thrones. I think that'll be all for this week, and tune in next week when we talk about where our characters have been this last season and where are they heading in the future. All right, that's the show.
Sweet.